Ahoy lads, Sam here. I'm going to pretend like it hasn't been a long time since I've uploaded. I've had a lot of stuff going on, but I have another episode in this invasion analysis series. And I'm going to just jump right into it. This was a recent invasion um, against a honest two-man setup. This Phantom was very friendly, and I'll show you something about that at the end, so if you stick around, it's kind of amusing. But I go with the setup here. I do this a lot with Affinity to apply pressure. I started on the Phantom, realized that this isn't going to be just a friendly little 1v1 duel sort of situation. And I start throwing in these Great Soul Arrows in order to just apply pressure since it's a group fight. Over here I see the Mad Spirit starts to get swarmed. Then he gets really low, and then I place myself here in between that Mad Spirit and death, since his tears are broken. So I throw myself into the fray, just desperately trying to keep that other Phantom alive. Even if they're not that good, just the type of build that I am running, having another meat bag up there taking damage is good for me. I have to be very mindful of that weapon art since it has a ton of poise. There, I fail something really critical that usually I'm quite good at. I accidentally lock onto my teammate. Usually I'm fast enough to unlock and not fire at them. That time I was too slow. You do see me go for a perseverance against the host. And I do that because I have so much health compared to them, and applying the pressure is fine. They will outtrade me, but I was willing to accept that at the time. And here I just keep the pressure onto the host. If I can do any amount of damage to them, that's good. Here I make a very critical mistake and die, and it was all because I started casting Great Heavy Soul Arrow. I actually intended to pivot cancel it, but I messed up, and it was just a very bad position to do that from. So what I'm going to show you next is when I reinvade very shortly after. Now, I know I'm in the same world, so I just start heading over to where they were before, because they're probably still over here. And I think that might be the Mad Spirit I saved before. Not sure. But I'm trying to get over here to help as fast as I can. Might as well take what I can get. I'm baiting for roll-ins at this point, both so I can just R1 with the dagger, but also so I can try to backstab if they roll in and make an attack. You'll see me do these cancels as I'm trying to kind of make the host uncomfortable with their play. I start to get bodied and go for a backstab when they get overconfident and greedy. It's really easy if somebody uses the weapon art on the Corvian Great Knife. If you can predict that, just run around and get yourself a backstab. If you have lower latency, it works very well, even off of an R1, two-handed. There I see that this host really wants to attack out of hit stun, and I'm going to remember that for the future. That sort of setup I do there with Affinity and Fair and Hail makes it really hard to not take some kind of damage. Here comes, see, they're trying to attack out of hit stun, so I'm just going to punish them for it. I'm going to pause here. I casted the Homing Crystal Soul Mass, so that way these orbs that come over my head, I can ram them into the host and they don't break, and they will deal damage and stun. So that was a tactical choice. I did not see the host had switched to a quick step weapon. It still isn't that bad with that, but I wouldn't have probably chosen to do the same thing had I noticed. And normally maybe I'd have gone for a backstab on that roll-in, but since they have quick step, it's really just not a viable move. Going to the corner here was a bit of a mistake, and I should be trying to apply pressure with Aquamarine at max range. Now I see the host picks out a crossbow, so we have low enough latency that I can fire the Great Soul Arrow, and even if we trade, I'm going to win that trade. So he can go ahead and fire the crossbow at me, and I'm going to just keep returning fire and winning the trade. I thought the host might do a rolling attack there, but they did not. And then the twin swords have a pretty long recovery, so I go ahead and use Perseverance in order to deal some damage against their R1s. Even if they're winning that trade, I'm okay with that at this point. I still have enough healing to make it work. There I see Desperate for parry. Very sloppy backstab, but it works. Our latency is low enough that if I R1 with the two-handed dagger, as soon as I see the host rolling, I will roll catch them. Their health is so low, even if it doesn't stun them, it puts them in grave danger of dying. Pay close attention here. If you blink, you'll miss it. When I'm chasing, I do a running attack, then I do a quick two-handed block or a waggle. That gets the host to roll, and I do another running attack which catches the host and they die. Now, there's a little something funny here, and we're going to slow this down. So the Phantom goes ahead and points down on the host, and then I didn't record very much, but you can see just very, very briefly, I'm going to zoom in very briefly, that Phantom starts to wave at me, right? Well, I did receive some hate mail after this invasion that seemed to think otherwise, and I find that very amusing, and I just thought I'd share that all with you. I have a couple other videos planned that I want to get out soon. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with this channel, but I can tell you that I don't enjoy Elden Ring very much, so you can expect there to be DS3 content for anybody who still wants to watch that, which I know there are some of you who still do. Have a good one, lads.